Okay, test mic. Test mic. All right, sorry. Mic was not working earlier. So yeah, watching Tesla, AMD, XPEV, Rivian, and the only gap down is AZN. And it's the first trading day of the month, July 3rd. And remember that today is just half day for the trading day. Tesla is forming very nicely here. Just turning on my pre-market data here. So AstraZeneca, not a lot of volume though for this. Tesla is really strong. XPEV is just in between the high and the low of the pre-market. Rivian is very strong. Rivian form an opening range breakout. SPY is an inside bar here. So right now, let's just look at Rivian. Pre-market high at Rivian is 18.2. Pre-market low is 16.02. So that's a $2 move. AstraZeneca, I can't take Rivian yet because it already had a move. Pre-market low here at AstraZeneca and pre-market high is at 69.5. Let's see what Rivian is going to give us. I'll be interested in Rivian if it gets a pullback close to VWAP, and that's the only place to enter long here. Tesla having a pullback at the VWAP. AMD looks very strong as well. Pre-market high, AMD pre-market low. Let's see what Rivian is doing. Rivian is just so strong. XPEV having a pullback here. Rivian had a big rejection at 18.8. This is the pullback that I was waiting for. So now that we're close to VWAP with Rivian, I'm entering long at Rivian. Added to my position. Stop loss here is at the VWAP, 18.14. Big volume bar here though. Added to my position in Rivian. Updating my stop loss. 18.14. Rivian is working nicely here. Took some partial with Rivian, moving my stop loss above my break even. Just turning off my Rivian about to stop loss right here at 18.49, which is above my break even. So with Rivian, 18.77 is acting as a strong resistance here. We do have a bunch of orders sitting at the ask, so that's very bullish. So looks like Rivian, we're heading to 19 here. Took another partial with Rivian, moving my stop loss above my break even here. Rivian, we do have a bunch of orders sitting right here. Big order at 18.92, so that's the next destination there. So Rivian, just trailing my stop loss here. Very strong with Rivian. Took another partial. Just taking a stall right there at 18.9. 18.9, this one is gonna go to 19. We do have lots of orders sitting right here at 19, so expect a pop at 19. So some sellers right here, a little bit of a pullback. So this one has a bunch of orders sitting right here at 19. Just waiting for a pop here. Some bunch of profit takers here, but Rivian is very strong. So we have, look at the order sitting right here, 1880. So that's a big order sitting at 1880. So a little bit of a pullback, but if this pullback gets me step out at 18.62, that is still going to be a green trade right there. XPEV looking very strong as well right now at the VWAP. This one could have been a good place to add. If I was a bit aggressive, I could have added to my position right here. Let's see if this is going to give me an opportunity for an add. It comes closer to 18.67. That'll be a good place to add. Added to my position in Rivian. Since I added to my position, just trailing my stop here. Next one here is 18.90. Trailing my stop loss. We do have big order sitting at 11.79. So that is, or 18.78, that is bearish right there. So expect some tug of war going in here, just because we are heading to the next resistance. Next resistance is 18.90. Once we break that 18.90, then we're up to the races. We can test that 19. Trailing my stop here, 18.89. So next destination here, this can retest 18.79. And my stop loss is just 10 cents before that. AMD is going a lot of movers today, very strong. This is the 19 we were waiting for a pop to 19, 18.96. All right, so this one, big orders right there. 18.80. Let's see if that will get absorbed. Once we get that resistance right there, then we have tested this level, 18.90, couple of times. 18.90 serving as a strong resistance there. Look at this big orders right now sitting at 19. So this is gonna break out of 19. So 18.88, 18.87, 18.90. Hands is on the trigger to take some partial at 19. 18.97, 93. Took some partial. Moving my stop loss above my break even here. AMD is just so strong as well. Did not get any other trade because was just managing my trade here, but AMD looks so strong. We're still sitting here, bunch of asked at 19. So just trailing my stop here. And the 19. $19 acted as a strong resistance there. Moving my stop loss here. This one gonna have a pullback here. So this one I'm gonna get stop out here. Wow, this could have been a good place to add. Rivian is just so strong. I'm good. I took some partial again, just because the volume bar right here is starting to build up. That's the reason why I took some partial again. So now we have a new resistance that's trying to break off of 19.06. 19.10 is the next one. So this one, very nice trade. Now I am just trailing my stop. Took some partial again. Now moving my stop loss all above my break even. So this is the comfortable position here because you are just trailing your stop. Our next destination here is 19.20. So 19.20 is the next destination. 19.20. Not sure whether Rivian has a news. Production figure set, second quarter 2023 result. So Rivian that had a good catalyst, has a good news. Took some partial again. So now that I have only 700 shares left here, I will just trail my stop and yeah, wait. If it stopped me out, then yeah, done with the trade. Let's see if there's any other trade. XBEV was a strong one. So this is, yep, about to stop me out here. Looking for any other not overextended. This is the place where you don't want to go long just because look at how far it is from the VWAP. So unless you have entered in a good position where you're close to the VWAP, this is the one that you call that you're chasing the stock just because it's so far from the VWAP. It had been 4 or 5 minutes that it had been a green candlestick. So expect a pullback at this point. And that's why I'm not even adding to my position. AMD having a little bit of a pullback. Have a little bit of a position there with Rivian, but it's still running. So with this, I am just going to be trailing myself. $19.32. Wow, this is just so strong. So now I'm just trailing my stop. Big volume bar right here though. So this can be showing some signs of losing the momentum for this to go up. So considering that, I am just trailing my stop here. So low of the body of this. The reason why it looks like we're running out of steam of going this to the high side, it's because of this volume bar. Now imagine that this one is just can be a zone. So this is the first sign of weakness. When will the turnaround happen? We don't know yet until the seller starts to jump back in. About to get stop lost here. 19.4 so far is the high of the day for Rivian. This one opened below this candlestick, so yeah, we're heading lower here. So yeah, got stop out there. So yeah, done with the trade. So that's 1400 and that is done by less than 20 minutes. Less than 20 minutes of trading. So the thing that gives us an indicator whether we're running out of steam for this to go up is because of this big volume bar. I am shorting Rivian here. This short is a scalp trade. Just because considering that Rivian is a very strong trade or very strong stock, I have a very tight stop loss here, 19.42. Let's put it 43. So stop loss is just above the high of the day. XBEV looking weak here. Let's see if this one will test the high of the day. volume is medium sized here. Let's see if this has the capacity to retest the high of the day. Looking for any cleaner moves or any easier trade. So stop loss here, 19.43. Volume is not picking up there. We do have a big order sitting at 19.36. Looking for me to add here below 19.13. So hands is on the trigger at 19.13. If it goes below 19.13, then that's a good place to add. Add it to my position. Since I added to my position, now is a good time to update the stop loss, 19.42. Looking at the volume bar here. Let's see if this has a momentum for this to break the 9 EMA. If this one breaks the 9 EMA, then we have a higher probability that this is going to go in our favor. 19.20, 21, 17. So we're breaking down by 19.17. So testing the 9 EMA here. What I need this thing to do is to break off of 9 EMA, 19.14. Right now, it's retesting 19.15. 19.15 is acting as a strong support there. I like that Tesla is having a pullback as well. So Tesla is having a pullback, SPY is having a pullback, so that is making this trade looking good. So I added to my position in Rivian. Since I added, now is a good time to adjust the stop loss. So waiting for the support to be broken, 19.01. Hands is on the trigger now. Took some partial here. Moving my stop loss just at break even. Now it's a good time. This one had a big, that was a quick pop right there. I do have my stop loss here at the break even. Took some partial. We have a new support, lowering my stop loss lower than my break even. So this one is the big volume bar right here. We were able to time this one because looking at the 1 minute, this one was the giveaway. You have the big volume bar. A little bit of a support right there at 18.90. $19.08. At this point, I'm just waiting for the new support, which is 18.9, to be broken. And once this support is broken, then this can retest the VWAP right here. Took another partial here on our way down. Very good trade, just trailing my stop lower than my break even. So we are took another partial. So with Rivian, this Rivian is just very clean. Look at how clean Rivian move is. It just went pop out the VWAP, and that's the reason why I took long. We have this topping tail. When we have this inverted hammer right here, that one was the giveaway to do short because of this volume bar, and that's the reason why we were able to time it right here at the first red candlestick at the 1 minute to short it. So I shorted it there, added to my position, added, and stop loss is just above. When we broke the 9 EMA, we added again, and that's the reason why we were able to capture this one. So right now, even if this bounced off of this moving average, it's okay because I am done with my trade. So we did touch that the 9 EMA we broke off of, and we did went to the VWAP. So 18.83 is the new support here. We do have this moving average right here as well. Very close to me getting step out. Okay, so I'm step out. So done with the trade. So with this one, now that it really tested VWAP, this can be very strong now. Now, would I want to do a long trade on this? Not necessarily, because look at the 5 minutes. 5 minutes looks bearish. It retested VWAP. We have this reversal sign. So although it looks strong at 1 minute, but we do have a reversal looking at the 5 minutes. So I wouldn't even touch this one at this moment because this can just go either way. Retest the high of the day or can just break the VWAP. So that is a very risky trade. That's why hands off of Rivian, not gonna trade this. The clean move happened at this point and at this point. So it did stop me out. This one, again, still looking very bearish with the 5 minutes. So I will not gonna be touching Rivian. I think Rivian trade for now, the easy trade, the clean trade is finished. So not gonna be touching that. So yeah, done with the trade. So this one, just one stock that I traded today, less than 30 minutes, and we got 1830. So with that, let's just do a recap. Okay, so let's just do a recap. All right, so doing a recap on Rivian. All right, so good morning, everyone. It's July 3rd, 2023. It's 10 in the morning, 30 minutes in. And remember that today is half day, and that's the reason why I am done trading. I only traded one stock today, and that is Rivian. So Rivian is a very strong stock. Let's look at what the daily did. So this one is a textbook setup. What we have in the daily is a big gap up, and that big gap up just right at the get-go gives us a bias that this Rivian is very strong. So with that bias, we look for opportunity in the lower time frame to long this trade. So if I will put in my pre-market data here, I have my pre-market low, pre-market high, which I actually placed when the market was already open because I only found Rivian late, and at the same time, when I put in my level here, Rivian was already moving up. So I did call out that Rivian is forming an opening range breakout. What is an opening range breakout? Opening range breakout is when you have pre-market high, pre-market low, and the one that's breaking is the pre-market high. So it breaks off of the pre-market high, just shoot right up, which is very strong. So that is a strategy for an opening range breakout. When I saw that that one was happening without me, I just let it run without me, because the worst thing that you can do as a trader is to chase a stock. So you have to acknowledge that if you're late on the trade, then look for a different setup. So what I did was I was late for the trade. I was late this much for an opening range breakout, but what I saw was a VWAP play. So VWAP is starting to form. We have a VWAP right here. This is the place that I started to take long. We have a little bit of a pullback. I added to my position, and we're also just about to break again the VWAP. So I added to my position. The way it looks like in the 1 minute is this is the opening range breakout right here. So if you were able to time it, was able to watch this at the beginning, then you can trade this one using the opening range breakout. For me, I waited for a pullback. So this is what we call a pullback. You're entering at the pullback. So the pullback here went at the VWAP. That's where I started my position. I added to my position. We're about to break the body of this candlestick. I added again to my position because now we are about to break the high of this resistance right there. So I started partialing when we are about to break the high of the day. So partial right there, partial, partial. We had a little bit of a pullback. And what do we do with a pullback? With a pullback, that's a nice place to add. So I added to my position here. And then we got another pop, which is a break of the high of the day of Rivian. So I partial again. We had another pop testing the high of the day. So partial again, partial. Every time it gets to test the high of the day, I take partial. At this point, this is my last long trade because at this point, I was just trailing my stop. So when I was trailing my stop, it had a bit or a small pullback, and that's the time that I was all out. So the best position in a trade is when you're just trailing your stop. When you're trailing your stop, you're just basically waiting for those, for that money to be in your pocket, because once you get stop out, you still get profit there. So what I saw with Rivian though, and what was the giveaway was we were heading higher, right? So we have that channel of higher high, higher low, but this is the giveaway right here. Look at how big this volume bar is compared to the rest of the volume bar. Volume bar at the opening is always going to be a lot compared to after 15-20 minutes of open. But even after 9:40, we have this big volume bar that is red. That is a first sign that we're running out of steam for this one to push higher. When I saw that, I was like telling myself, this is running out of steam. This is going to be a short now. So this is where, when that happens, this is my last position to the long. And sure enough, look at this candle bar right here. The next clue here is now we have the first red candlestick. That first red candlestick is the one that created the wick. Once we broke below that first red candlestick, that's the time that I entered short. We were about to go lower than the wick of this candlestick. I added to my position. Now, the thing that makes this a good play is you have the high of the day, which can serve as your stop loss. So my stop loss here was a couple of cents from the high of the day. So high of the day is 19.4. So 19.38 or 37 is my stop loss. So just giving it a couple of cents. So my stop loss is still a logical stop loss. we are retesting again the 9 EMA. So I added to my position there. Now we have another confirmation because we don't even get to test the high of the day. We had another red candlestick here. Once we tested the 9 EMA, that's the time that I added to my position right here. And once we add to that position, then we get to see how it broke that 9 EMA. That 9 EMA was broken because we have tested that 9 EMA a couple of times. So that means that resistance is getting weaker every time. So that's the time that I partial because again, it's testing the low of this candlestick. I partial again, and I partial right there at the VWAP. So now I switch my my stop loss, and that's the time that I was just trailing it all out. So trailing your stop loss means once you have the reversal, you get all out. So that's why on this first white candlestick, I was all out because we found a reversal there. And then once we get that reversal, I was saying that as well before I do my recap, that this is the time that you do not want to take the trade in Rivian. And if you followed my advice not to take the Rivian, then it could have saved you of getting chopped or getting stuck with this trade. Look at what happened after we finish our trade right here. So this is my last trade right here. I called it out that this is not a place to trade now because the easy trade already happened. So if you're just about to start a trade, you have to acknowledge that the train already left the station. The easy trade right here is this channel right here, and the easy trade right here is this reversal right here. After that reversal, expect a consolidation, and this is what is happening right now. It's not a good place to start a position because look at what it's doing. In your 5 minutes, we are now having this reversal, right? Now, in the lower time frame, what you'll see is a bunch of moving averages as well as VWAP that is just doing a sandwich with this candlestick. You have the VWAP right here, you have the 9 EMA right there, and look at what's happening now. So your channel now is like this. So that is flat compared to a channel that looks like that, a channel that looks like this. So train your eyes to see how the channel is forming. Is it going up, going down, or it's flat? If it's flat, stay away because your commission, you're just going to end up paying a bunch of commission. So with that, I'll call it a day. Remember that today is just half day, and since tomorrow is July 4th, so happy 4th for all of you guys who are trading in the US. And yeah, right now just wait for a good setup. Do not force any trade if you do not see any of your setup forming. Tesla, there's no setup forming here right now because this one is just in the VWAP. AMD had a good reversal right here. No setup yet because this can test yesterday or Friday's closing price. But at this point, no trade to set up to take. XPEV, no trade to take because this just broke the 9 EMA. So you cannot even play a 9 EMA trade here because it went already below the 9 EMA. So let's see. AZN was the only gap down that I was looking at today. It was down by 7.3. This is not an A+ setup as well for a short just because pre-market high is here, pre-market low is there. If the pre-market low, imagine, is here, then that's a good opening range breakdown. But just because the pre-market low is all the way down here, it does not give you an opening range breakdown setup because of the way that this stock opened. So you have your level right here, level right there, and it opened right here. So the way that you train your eyes to see that is you have your pre-market high, pre-market low. If it opened at the middle, you do not get to form any bias there. Is it weak? Is it strong? You cannot form a bias. It's in the middle. But the way that you use your pre-market high, pre-market low level is, let's say you have your, let's just make this clear so you get to train your eye. So let's say you have your pre-market high, you have your pre-market low, and let's say that this is a gap down, right? You have a gap down of at least 3% here. Now, if the stock open right here, so you have your, this is your pre-market, and this is when the market opens. So 9:30, the stock opens right here, then that's a good opening range breakdown. Your stop loss is just above your pre-market low, and if this one moves right down there, then that's the opening range breakdown. Now, the same is opposite for an opening range breakout. Opening range breakout is a stock that is up by 3%. So let's say this is your pre-market high, pre-market low, and now you have, this is your gap up. Yesterday's or Friday's closing price is at this level. You have formed a 3% up here. Now you can have a bias here that this stock is strong. So pre-market level is this. Again, pre-market high, pre-market low, and at 9:30, it opens right here. So that means you can have your stop loss just below the pre-market low, and your entry is a little above the pre-market high, and that's what you call an opening range breakout there. Now, how would a not so good opening range breakout looks like? A not so good and not an A plus setup opening range breakout is, it will open right here. So that means you're opening at the middle of this. It will open right here. That's now opening close to your opening range or close to your pre-market low. And that's not a setup. This is not a setup. This is not a setup. How about this? This is still not a setup. You only get a setup once it is above the pre-market high, and that is what you call the opening range breakout. If the opening range breakout is not there, then do another strategy. That's what I did with Rivian. Opening range breakout already happened in Rivian, so I let the stock go without me and just entered at the pullback. So the pullback that happened in Rivian is this pullback right here. So you don't want to enter the trade when it already left the station. Acknowledge that the train already left, so you want to enter the pullback, and this is where the pullback happened. So imagine if I have, well, I do have the stop loss just below the VWAP. I am still in a comfortable position just because it never even go below the VWAP. So that makes it an easy trade. So that's how you catch those easy trade. This junk movements, you don't want to be involved with that. Those are just algorithms that keeping the stock moving, but as a retail trader, you're not going to get anything from this, because that's just going to make you pay for commissions. So yeah, done for the trade. Less than 30 minutes of trading, and we got 1800 with that, just one stock, Rivian. So that's how you get to pick an A plus setup. You do your risk to reward ratio, you enter the pullback, and you already anticipate of what kind of candlestick you're looking at. You already anticipate what kind of entry as well as the stop loss you're looking at, and that makes it just a grab and go. So with that, done with the trade. I hope you guys have a green trading day, and for those of you who are in the US, happy 4th, and I hope you guys have a good rest tomorrow as we come back right here on Wednesday to do this again. So if you do have questions, please feel free to check our website out, and please feel free to email me as well. We would love to help you guys, and we are open for suggestions. We would love to hear from what you guys would like to see on our recap or on our trading platform. And yeah, that's it for me. Just looking at if there's any other stocks to trade today. And feel free to check our website. It's called ecourseunlock.com. And with that, you get to see the courses that are offered, our book that is now published in Amazon, and our syllabus right there. If you want to learn more about the opening range breakout strategy that I was talking about, then download this for free. It's, I think, 20 pages of this opening range breakout where we drill down and even give you those figures on how opening range breakout play is how it became one of our favorite strategy. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll just keep the chart up for those of you who are still trading. So thank you and happy 4th.